Right, FightHype.com here with my man Virgil Hunter. Virgil, we're like just minutes after the press conference for Mayweather versus Berto. You gave a really great and passionate speech up there about the fight that's about to take place on Saturday. Can you kind of go into a little more detail about that?
Well, you know, I believe it's something personal between the two fighters. Probably something only they know about. Who knows? But, you know, what I was trying to convey to the audience, those who understand, you know, when you grow up in the hoods and the ghettos of America, you know, survival is right out the gate. Mm-hmm. You know, right. I can remember kindergarten. I mean, who would think that when you went to kindergarten, it's survival right out of the gate, you know, that if you got your lunchbox and your mother's putting better sandwiches in your lunchbox than somebody else, and you go in your lunchbox and your sandwich is gone. It's like, wait a minute, right? And some 5-year-old kid, because he's been impoverished and denied, or maybe the family is struggling or something. Because, you know, when we're young, you know, me growing up in the, you know, the neighborhoods of Oakland, California, you think we think as kids we're all alike, but we never think that some kids are have a little bit more, a little less, you know, than maybe what you have. So they'll take your sandwich. So right away, you know, it's a battle of survival. You see, and it grows up. Not too many kids in nice areas have to worry about things like that. You have to worry about your Nike jacket, right? And people don't believe that. Oh yeah, well, what got so deep rooted in an individual that if you got on a nice pair of tennis shoes, he's willing to take your life for him, right? Or all you gotta do is look at the rap game. Why is there always constant beefs? Right. Because it's that dynamic that you have to come from that and really have to understand why it exists, right? So, and then when you've been around it so long, you can smell it in the air, you know, and I smell it in the air, you know, is compliments here, but it's something deep down inside that it needs to be settled. And Saturday night, you know, they're gonna settle it. So, you know, you have, you know, Floyd has accomplished everything. You can't take away nothing from him. You have Berto who's been through what he's been through, but the consensus is that, you know, when you're at that level that both of them are, you know, you can socialize kind of in the same world, so to speak. You know, if you got 20 and I got 10, I still go where you go. Right. You know, anytime I can buy what you buy. You know, now up to a close point. Okay. And if I'm smart, I can take that 10 and turn it into 100. So that dynamic is there. I can sense it. You know how it is when you was coming up in school and somebody said, man, Ben and Dan Raphael, they're going to fight after school, right? right. And you heard this in the morning, you know, before the first recess. And then so what do you do as a kid when you hear this? All day you observing Ben and you observing Dan, and you know, and there's people around them and you watching how they stand and posture and walk. You know, he got to show up. Yeah. Where they going to fight, man? They're going to fight behind the bleachers, you know, the fighting ground. So after school, everybody's there, you know, and then here they come, right? So now the next thing is, well, how are we going to get this started? Right? And it don't take much. Well, I'll put a leaf on yours, you put on, you know, so that's, you know, that's when you're in the 1st through the 4th grade. Once you get to the 5th, then, you know, you better come in and kind of stay away from this guy because you get gloves, you don't take off on you, right? You know, because now he's been in so many situations, you know, most people understand by the time you're in the 5th grade, you know, because you've had 35, 40 schoolyard fights and then after school at the park and whatever. So you could just smell the dynamics and you can sense the tension. It's thick, you know. Everybody else is looking at it as another fight, but it goes way deeper than that. And a man who, if both men involved, they have the same thing, then, you know, the things can go up.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing that there's some personal beef going into this fight?
Well, I mean, considering I should say maybe the historical aspect of it, this being Floyd's last fight, this being Berto being discredited, not really given the respect in the sense of he's not worthy of this fight. Yeah, I mean, you know, it goes deep down inside, you know, and when you've come up, as Berto's come up and gone through what he's gone through, I mean, it's a diss, right? I mean, it's like, again, getting back to the hip-hop business, that's why the rappers beef like they do. They'll kill each other, you know, because one is shining, the other is shining, or one knows, man, what you're talking about, you didn't live it, you know. They'll say that in a minute. You know, you're talking about stuff you didn't even live, man. You fake, you phony, you know, you're a paper rapper. I mean, then there you go, it's on. Gunfire and everything else, you see. So that dynamic exists in the fight world because most of these fighters, they know about each other. They know the backgrounds of each other, where they came from, because, you know, the game is packed in. They run in the same circles, so to speak, patronize the same place, and they know the same people. So when you put that element together, when you know, and the infusion of hip-hop and boxing, right? You know, you've had females who've gotten famous hanging around boxing, you see? You know, guys who've gotten famous hanging around boxing. You see guys in this room today that 2 years ago, you know, they found their way some kind of way in a circle of a boxer, you know, and now people know them. They've been here, done that, you see? So those things exist. And then when you take it all the way back to where it all started, you know, and as the root forms, and, you know, maybe one path is different than the other, but when it accumulates and it meets head on, you know, in that space, something's going to happen.
So if you know the beef between them, you're not willing to disclose what the beef is personally, right?
No, I don't know the beef between them. I mean, I could say safely, if they gave me about 5 guesses, I might get close.
So does that motivate him to train harder now?
Well, you know what? He was always training hard, but, you know, because he had some physical ailments, he was limited. And, you know, when he came to me and would start explaining these things to me, you know, I'm blessed to have a medical team. Second to none, my best friend is a professor of medicine. You know, we went to the same high school. He just took it to another level, you see. So, I mean, my guys get everything done free because of him. I have a medical board and everything, so we had him tested thoroughly. And, you know, when the results came back, I was quite stunned, to be honest about it. I'm like, how on earth did you even